be monitoring remotely because they also have, I believe there are also rooms within the House of Representatives that they can use as kind of a lounge area or an area where they can monitor the deliberations remotely. But rest assured that we are doing our best to make sure the CSOs are very well engaged during the course of the deliberations. I would now like to recognize Representative Gila Garcia.
Maraming salamat, Madam Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Nais ko lang pong susugan yung nabanggit kanina ni Congressman Rufus Rodriguez and Congressman Mercado on the regional sharing ng ating pong budget. May we please ask kung ano yung fundamental principle guiding DBM in allocating the national budget by region?
Madam Chair, Secretary Mina has to be on a bio break for a while, but if we are permitted to answer.
Yes, Yusek Abuel, if you may please respond to the query of Representative Garcia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, the basis would be the requests, the budget proposals of the agencies. So that would be based on the evaluation criteria. And as the Secretary has noted earlier, some of them are regionalized, meaning based on the geographic location, while the others are centralized. But it does not mean that it belongs to the central office. Ultimately, in the implementation, it will be broken down by the geographical location.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Siguro po parang ang gusto po natin malaman kung kunyari nga po by agency request, paano po ine-evaluate ng DBM para equitable yung pag-budget natin across the region. And siguro, bawat mamamayan po natin nararamdaman itong budget, whether kung anong agency bababa or anong program bababa siya.
Yes, Madam Chair. We have a parameter that was adopted. This has been consistent. So first, as to shovel readiness or implementation readiness of the program or project. And then we also have the absorptive capacity of the agency. They may be proposing for several programs, but we are seeing that in the past, they are not, the disbursements, the obligations as well as disbursements are not very high. So it means they are not utilizing their budget as they should. We also have the fiscal space, which is the pie that needs to be observed in distributing all of the requirements as opposed to all of the proposals. And we also consider those programs or projects which have high impact and value to public service in the prioritization. And of course, the alignment to the PDP. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Siguro kasi kanina po nababanggit na yung ibang rehiyon, mas maliliit yung budget allocation kesa dun sa ibang rehiyon. Pero siguro kung kunyari lang po i-divide natin by population, lumalabas din po na may konting inequitable distribution. So siguro maganda po talaga na makita at maramdaman ng taong bayan yung bawat piso na budget natin sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na buhay. Kasi yung ibang mga parameters natin na nabanggit, kunyari yung shovel readiness or yung absorptive capacity ng mga ahensya, parang nandun yun sa government side na paghahanda. Pero hindi natatranslate sa ano ba yung kailangan or yung accountability na kung ba't hindi siya shovel ready or ba't ganun lang kaliit yung absorptive capacity ng ahensyang yon, hindi naman natin ma-equate para sabihin sa bawat mamamayan na kaya yan lang ang natanggap natin dahil yun yung ilan sa mga parameters natin. So siguro po, with the agencies and with DBM, baka we can sort of have yun nga, yung clamor po natin ng more equitable and budget process and principle.
Madam Chair, in our budget call, there's a provision that we've incorporated when we released it at the start of the year. It says that the national government will continue to work towards prioritizing strategical regional needs and ensuring that regional plans align with the national priorities. And we also take note that the role of the RDCs in the preparation of the proposal of the budgets of such region. I'd also like to note that there's a new executive order or admin order that strengthens, together with the creation of the DepDev, that actually strengthens the coordination between the RDCs and the national government, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Secretary. Siguro we'll be more proactive with discussions with RDC and the good Secretary. My second query, Madam Chair, is about the Sustainable Development Goals. Our government has committed to the accomplishment of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, ending poverty, ensuring quality education, providing universal health care, promoting decent work, protecting the environment, etc. But as per the PSA 2024 Pace of Progress results, only 21% or 13 targets are on track, 51.6% or 32 targets need acceleration, and 27.4% or 17 targets are classified under regress. So I guess one question with, I guess, DBM and DepDev is how does our 2026 national budget explicitly align with the 17 SDGs?
Garci.
May I respond quickly to that, Madam Chair? Many of these SDGs pertain to the social sector: health, education, social protection, employment, and as we have presented earlier this morning, and discussed also this afternoon, the thrust of the 2026 budget is for greater stress on these areas: health, education, employment creation, and particularly the generation of high-quality jobs, as well as social protection and food security. So it is in this area where we are falling short of expectations, Madam Chair. And we hopefully that this budget 2026 is sort of a catching up, and if we can continue that effort in 2027, 2028, we should be able to achieve many of these commitments by 2030.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Siguro po we can request the different agencies, Madam Chair, when they present their budget for our budget deliberation, sana they can show the accomplishments vis-a-vis the SDGs para makita din natin na kaya tayo naglalagay ng budget dito, kaya natin to pinapalakas kasi ito yung gusto nating ma-accomplish sa target natin. Madam Chair, next question. Based on our syntax law, 20% of the syntax revenue should be earmarked for SDG. May we know if these have all been spent and if there are the reasons for not accomplishing why we are below target with most of our SDGs.
We'll request the DOF to respond to your query, Representative Garcia.
We will, Madam Chair, we will consolidate all the projects and programs that actually corresponds to the SDGs. We have an existing convergence budgeting program, but here, Ma'am, it's here. It's quite long po. So, SDG 1 on, is it okay if I just submit into the records or the committee? Medyo mahaba po siya, Madam Chair, for consideration po of our Madam Chair for committee.
Madam Chair, yes, if we may request for a copy so that when we deliberate each agency, we can see the accomplishment and performance.
Yes, we'll furnish a copy to the Representative Garcia once it's submitted to us by the DBM.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, since my time is up, may I have another go for the during the second round? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have several members as well who already signed up for the second round, so definitely. Next to interpolate on the part of the minority, Representative Alan T. Representative Terry Redon. Representative Deputy Minority Leader Bong Suntay. Next would be Representative Paulo Henry Marcoleta. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to know the status of the Maharlika Investment Fund because for the last 2 years, the President did not make any mention about the MIF in his SONAs. And since Congress has the innate power of innate oversight function, I think, I believe we ought to know the status of the Maharlika Investment Fund. And I believe you have also been endowed with repertorial requirements. And what mechanisms are in place to ensure the transparency of these multi-million investments that were made? I believe early this year there were investments made already by the Maharlika Investment Fund.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it is true that we report to Congress yearly. I think there are documents submitted to Congress to provide status with regard to the investments of Maharlika. Essentially, Maharlika has invested in 2 projects. One is NGCP, 20% of 2 board seats in NGCP, roughly 20 billion pesos. And another is in a mining, Makilala Mining, and that's how much? A bridge loan right now of roughly $10 million. The balance, there's 75 billion available. The balance is with Treasury. So it's earning interest on its investment in Treasury bonds. It has provided dividends to the national government of roughly 2.4 billion, if I recall, or 1.4 billion in dividends to the national government.
Thank you, Madam.
There's a paper submitted to Congress as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Secretary. And since the Maharlika